Hi guys, and welcome to another Watch Geek video. This video is gonna be a few of my first impressions after receiving this watch and wearing it for a couple of weeks now. Now this watch hasn't left my wrist, and in fact I just took it off to do this video. I really do love the watch, but there are a few things that kinda bother me and I wanted to share them with you. Now, a few disclaimers. This watch is 5 years old. And not only is it 5 years old, but it seems that it was very used and, in fact, very abused. Now, the few things that bother me, some of them are fixable, some are not. The first thing is the crystal. Now, this uses a hardlex crystal, and I had a Seiko. For reference, I'm going to be using the Seiko Orange Monster that I wore for 7 years during my job, and it really went through hell with me. And it was very damaged, but not closely as damaged as this. Now on that, I did manage to scratch the crystal, but on this, not only is it scratched, but it has a lot of these little dimples. So my guess is that someone who used this watch used it while welding, because this looks like the crystal was kind of melted inside into the watch. I don't know how to explain it. I'll probably try to put a couple of shots of the crystal just so you can see what I mean. This has actually made me want to change the crystal and probably upgrade to a sapphire. Now a lot of people say no, hardlex is better when it comes to shatter resistance, and that is actually a myth. I have an email written by a chief engineer of Seiko that was in charge for designing the first Tuna, and the man clearly explains that at the same thickness, sapphire is better in every way possible than hardlex. However, back at those times, and when it comes to slightly less expensive watches, it was very hard for Seiko to produce sapphire cost effectively to match the water resistance of the hardlex. So in order for you to achieve this kind of water resistance and 1000 water resistance, you had a sapphire, I believe he's talking about 2 or 3 millimeters, which has a very high failure rate, and some micro cracks appear that can later destroy the crystal. But now, since they managed to make it cost effective and are more successful at making it, that is why we see more and more sapphire crystals implemented in some very expensive Seiko divers that used to have hardlex. So I do believe that a sapphire would be better. So this hardlex is, I mean, it's a tough crystal, but if you're really gonna abuse the watch, it's gonna pick up scratches. But that's okay. I mean, I knew that I'm getting the hardlex, I just didn't expect to get as many scratches as I got. The second thing is the bezel. Now this one, as you can see, the bezel spins so freely that I knew something is wrong. And what's wrong is the little gasket that's used to put pressure, to give you the resistance when you're turning it, is actually broken, and a piece of it is missing. I checked it because I removed the shroud and popped the bezel off. Now these two things are my small nitpicks that really can be solved by, this hardlex was obviously abused more than I would abuse it, so I really don't have a problem with it. Plus, I'm probably going to replace it by sapphire. This rubber thingy is also going to get replaced, and the bezel is going to have a perfect action. Even like this, it's very easy to turn, but it still lines up perfectly, so everything is great. However, I didn't expect it to be in this condition because, like I said, my Monster was used for 7 years, and I really used the bezel extensively and never experienced a cracked bezel gasket. But what can you do? The shroud has actually taken the beating quite well, and the rest of the watch is great. Now my biggest disappointment, as you can see, has to be the bracelet, because I put this on a 2-piece nylon strap. And the thing is, again, I'm using the reference my Seiko Monster bracelet. The first thing, this is a solid link bracelet with solid end links, the same as the Monster. But I'm surprised that in 5 years it has gotten so much play and so much stretch if you look at this bracelet. Because when I look at pictures and videos of new models, it doesn't seem like the bracelet is like this. It's like the tolerances are really not that good. And to be honest, my Monster bracelet, even after 7 years, was nowhere close to being this stretched out and having this much play. It was much tighter, the tolerances were smaller. I don't know, it appears like my Seiko Monster bracelet is actually better than this. Another thing is the clasp. Now, a lot of people hate the clasp because it has this extension, which means that some of these parts are kind of stamped. Not everything is machined. I personally don't have a problem with that. I mean, you're sacrificing some of it to get this awesome functionality of the ratcheting clasp. I actually, like I said, have nothing against that. What I do have a problem against is that when you close it, it has this little gap here, and there you see this teeny part, and that kind of ruins the impression. If this was able to close all the way, and I do believe that I've seen on Orient watches where it closes almost like this, where this is right next to the clasp, you can't see this gap, I would be much happier. So this was a kind of a disappointment, and I thought like maybe it's down to the bracelet being so abused that something is messed up. Maybe it's not supposed to look like this when it's new, but I don't know, it doesn't look good. The comfort is great, the bracelet is very comfortable, and it's nice. The styling is perfect for the Tuna. But it just scratched up. I mean, scratched up, that's okay for 5 years. Even that is a bit more than I had on my Monster, but what can you do? Probably someone who used this watch really didn't take care of it. But these things kind of, I don't know, they bother me. Look at this. Look at how much stretch this bracelet has. And since it uses solid links, it's as if the holes in these links got stretched out somehow. I don't know. Look at it. I'm just kind of disappointed with that, and especially with this. Now, I tried checking, maybe it's supposed to push another click and it doesn't work on mine, but there isn't any room for the watch to do that, because as you can see, this has reached the limit. I'll show you here. This is the limit, and it reaches the limit. You cannot go any further because of the design. So it really isn't down to the clasp being worn out or anything. It just looks like that. And that really bothers me. Now, this is, like I said, a short pet peeves, or how do they call them in English, where, you know, some of the things that are kind of disappointed me when I received this watch. I really expected this bracelet, especially since everyone is raging it's the best bracelet Seiko has ever made. Well, no, it's not, at least not after 5 years of use. In fact, my Monster bracelet, I can honestly say, is a better bracelet after being worn. The clasp would be great, and like I said, I have nothing against the ratcheting system if this closed all the way. I don't know why they did it like this. Why they didn't shape it differently so that it looks closed, because whenever I see it on my wrist, it always kind of opens up like this, and it just disappoints me. The crystal, that's okay, it's part of the Marine Master, of the 300 tunas. The thing that really surprised me as a good thing, well, apart from the movement that's really hitting everything spot on, is the insert. I kind of expect, when I saw the bracelet and the way the watch was handled, I expected the insert to be thrashed completely, but surprisingly it's in a very good condition. So I don't know what Seiko was using as a material, but it's very tough. That's one of the things that positively surprised me about the watch. Anyways, despite these small pet peeves, I have to admit that I really like this watch. Like I said, it hasn't left my wrist ever since I got it, and I really enjoy wearing it. It's very comfortable, it's very easy to read the time off. In the night, the lume is nuclear, the precision, I mean the accuracy is amazing. Everything is great. Another thing that's kind of bothering me, I mean it's not bothering me because I'm used to it on Seiko 5s, is I'm sorry, I mean I wish Seiko included an instant date change on this model, because it's quartz, so it's kind of easier to do it than on a mechanical, but for some reason they went with the very slow date change, and it starts happening at around 10:30, 11 and stretches all the way to 1 or 2, which is kind of shame. I wish they did this, they included that as well, because the rest of the watch, like I said, is very good. Anyways, that's it. So don't think I'm hating the Tuna, I am actually loving the Tuna. But I just wanted to warn some of you people, if you decide to buy something like this and you find yourself disappointed, that you're not alone. I mean, some things, it's not a perfect watch. It's not the best bracelet Seiko ever made, and it's far from being perfect. But like I said, I still love it. Anyways, that's it when it comes to this rant, and do stay tuned for the full review. Well, I'll probably cover some history and things like that. Well, that's it, so thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe, and until the next video, bye.